A CEO's son demanded I do his college assignment because people like you exist to make life easier for people like me. When I refused, he emailed my professor and claimed she stole my work. The dean called me into a meeting as I smirked, pulled up his plagiarized essay, and said, "Then let's see who really stole what." During my final year at the University of Chicago, I was deeply immersed in my English literature studies. Balancing a full course load with a part-time job at a local bookstore in Hyde Park kept me constantly on my toes. One of the most demanding courses that semester was Modern American Literature, taught by Professor Allen. The centerpiece of this class was a comprehensive essay on F. Scott Fitzgerald's works, a project that required meticulous research and profound analysis. One evening, while organizing the fiction section at the bookstore, my phone buzzed with an unexpected message. It was from Brad, a fellow student I recognized from a few classes, but had rarely interacted with. Brad was notorious on campus, not for his academic achievements, but for his affluent background, his father being the CEO of a major tech conglomerate based in Chicago. His reputation painted him as someone who leveraged his family's wealth to navigate through challenges rather than relying on personal merit. The message was succinct. "Hey, can we meet up? Need a favor." Curiosity piqued, I replied, suggesting we meet at the campus cafe the following afternoon. The next day, I arrived at the cafe to find Brad already seated at a corner table, sipping what appeared to be an expensive espresso. He was dressed in designer attire, exuding an air of nonchalance. As I approached, he flashed a practiced smile, one that seemed to have opened many doors for him in the past. "Thanks for coming," he began, his tone casual yet purposeful. "Sure," I replied, taking a seat opposite him. "What's on your mind?" He leaned in slightly, lowering his voice as if about to share a confidential matter. "So, I've got this Fitzgerald essay due next week for Professor Allen's class. I'm swamped with other commitments and was wondering if you could help me out." I raised an eyebrow, sensing where this was headed. "Help you out how?" He chuckled lightly, as if the answer was self-evident. "Come on, you're top of the class. I was hoping you could write it for me. I'll make it worth your while, $500 cash." I was taken aback by his audacity. "Brad, that's not ethical. I can't do that." His demeanor shifted slightly, the smile fading just a bit. "Look, it's not a big deal. People like you exist to make life easier for people like me." I felt a surge of indignation. "Excuse me?" He shrugged, as if his statement was a universal truth. "It's just how the world works." I stood up, gathering my belongings. "I'm not going to compromise my integrity. Find someone else." As I turned to leave, he called out, "Think it over. Easy money." I didn't dignify that with a response and walked out, my mind racing with disbelief and frustration. A week later, an email from the dean's office appeared in my inbox, summoning me for a meeting. The subject line was vague, but the formal tone hinted at something serious. Anxiety gnawed at me as I made my way to the administration building, replaying recent events in my mind, trying to pinpoint any misstep that could warrant such a summons. Upon arrival, I was directed to a conference room where Dean Margaret Hayes, a woman known for her no-nonsense approach, sat alongside Professor Allen. To my astonishment, Brad was also present, seated with an air of feigned innocence. Dean Hayes gestured for me to sit. "Thank you for coming on such short notice," she began, her tone neutral but authoritative. "We've received a serious allegation concerning academic misconduct." I glanced at Brad, who avoided my gaze. "What kind of allegation?" I inquired, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. Professor Allen interjected. "Brad has come forward with claims that you plagiarized his essay on F. Scott Fitzgerald." I was momentarily speechless. "That's absurd," I finally managed. Brad spoke up, his tone laced with feigned concern. "I was shocked too, but I found sections of my work in your essay. I felt it was my duty to report it." I took a deep breath, striving for composure. "Dean Hayes, Professor Allen, I categorically deny these accusations. In fact, I believe the situation is quite the opposite. Dean Hayes raised an eyebrow. Go on. I reached into my bag, retrieving my laptop. I anticipated something like this might happen. Navigating to my email, I pulled up the sent folder and displayed an email dated a week prior to the submission deadline. Here is the email I sent to Professor Allen with my completed essay, timestamped accordingly. Professor Allen leaned forward, scrutinizing the screen. This does predate Brad's submission. I continued, furthermore, I have text messages from Brad requesting that I write his essay for him, which I declined. Dean Hayes turned her attention to Brad. Do you have any explanation for this? Brad shifted uncomfortably. There must be some misunderstanding. Maybe our ideas just coincidentally overlapped. Professor Allen's expression hardened. Identical passages aren't mere coincidences, Brad. Dean Hayes sighed, her disappointment evident. We will conduct a thorough investigation. In the meantime, Brad, you are suspended from all academic activities pending the outcome. I left the room feeling a mix of relief and lingering apprehension. The battle wasn't over, but I was prepared to stand my ground. The next few days dragged. Word started to get around campus. Not many knew the details, but whispers spread like fire. People saw me walk into the admin building and come out looking like I'd just been through war. Others saw Brad being escorted out of his dorm by security. It didn't take much for rumors to explode. Some thought we were caught cheating together. Others said I ratted him out. The truth? That didn't seem to matter to anyone. I focused on my classes and tried to stay calm. But the tension was everywhere. Then it got worse. That Friday, I was walking out of the library when someone bumped into me hard. On purpose. My bag hit the pavement, laptop inside. I looked up. It was Brad's friend, Tyler. Big guy. Wore varsity jackets like a uniform. He leaned down real close and said, "Hope that 500 was worth ruining someone's life, snitch." I didn't say anything. I picked up my stuff, checked my laptop, walked away. Keyboard dented. Screen cracked. I reported the incident to campus safety. They told me there were no cameras in that part of the sidewalk. Without proof or witnesses, nothing could be done. Just like that, I was told to be careful and avoid confrontations. The next week, things escalated again. I started getting weird emails. Anonymous, no subject lines. Just phrases like, "You'll regret this," and "not over." Then came a photo. It was of my dorm door. At night. I reported that too. Same response. I moved my desk in front of my dorm door that night. The university's investigation continued. Brad, for some reason, wasn't kicked out yet. He was suspended pending results, which meant he still had access to off-campus buildings. He still had his expensive lawyers. And apparently, he still had friends willing to make my life hell. The pressure was constant. But I had something stronger, the truth. I met with Dean Hayes again. This time, I brought more. "I've done some digging," I told her. I handed her a USB drive. On it, a full digital footprint. I had gone back through old class forums, digital libraries, and private tutor sites. I found Brad's name tied to a profile on a ghostwriting site. Same email handle he used to message me. The profile had requests for 3 different essays across multiple subjects. I also found this, I said, sliding over a printed screenshot. It was from the Fitzgerald essay. Brad had copied entire paragraphs from a sample essay on that site. Word for word. The formatting was identical to mine because he'd copied from the same sample I'd used for reference. Except I'd properly cited everything. He didn't. Dean Hayes read the pages in silence. Professor Allen was there too, this time not saying much. His eyes darted between the printed evidence and the screen. "I cross-checked all this," I said. "He didn't just steal from me. He stole from a ghostwriting site. And I bet this isn't the first time." They both looked serious now. "Leave this with us," Dean Hayes said. 2 days later, campus police showed up at my door. For a moment, I panicked. Then I saw the look on their faces. Calm. "Not for me. We'd like you to confirm the messages you received," one officer said. They were building a case. Brad's friends hadn't been careful. The anonymous emails came from IP addresses traced back to campus networks. 2 of his friends were already in questioning. That night, Brad tried to reach out to me. He used a burner Instagram account with no profile pic and 1 follower. He DM'd me, "You don't know who you're messing with. I will make this right." I screenshotted it and forwarded it to the dean and the officers handling the case. That was the last message I ever got from him. But I didn't relax. A week later, I was called into another meeting. Not just with the dean, but with the university's legal team. The conference room was cold. Or maybe it just felt that way because of who was sitting across from me. 2 lawyers, one in a gray suit, one in a navy skirt suit. They looked like they belonged in a courtroom on TV. Dean Hayes was there too, stiffer than usual. She nodded for me to sit. "We appreciate your cooperation," the lawyer in gray said, folding his hands on the table. "We're here to inform you that Brad's father, Mr. Calloway, has threatened legal action." I blinked. "Against me?" "He's claiming defamation," the woman added, saying his son's academic future has been destroyed by baseless accusations. I laughed, but no one else did. "They do know I brought proof, right?" I asked. "You saw the emails. The screenshots." His name was all over the ghostwriting site. Dean Hayes sighed. "We know. That's why the university is standing behind you. But Mr. Calloway is very persistent." "What does that mean?" "It means," the man said, "he's trying to smear your name before the board can reach a final decision. He's funding a third-party investigation to discredit your academic record." That hit me hard. I didn't do anything wrong. You didn't. But power works differently when it has money behind it. The meeting ended with them promising protection, though what that meant wasn't exactly clear. I left with a sick feeling in my stomach. That week, someone started a rumor that I had paid someone else to write my Fitzgerald essay. A complete reversal of the truth. Flyers showed up in the English building. A Reddit post popped up on the university thread with some blurry picture of me in the library, captioned, "Proof she doesn't even read the material." Comments spiraled out. Some people defended me. Others didn't. My inbox filled with messages. Some were kind. Most weren't. I shut off notifications, pulled back from social media, and locked down everything. Then I got an email from a name I didn't recognize. Subject line: "They tried to buy my silence." I opened it cautiously. The message was from a senior who'd graduated last year. A guy named Evan. He had seen my name mentioned in the chaos and decided to reach out. "I tutored Brad last spring," his email read. "He never did his own work. I have screenshots of our conversations. I also have PayPal receipts where he paid me to finish 3 assignments." I didn't say anything back then because his dad offered me $5,000 to move on quietly. I needed the money. I took it. But this is getting out of control. I replied instantly. Within an hour, he'd forwarded everything: messages, timestamps, payment confirmations. I added them to my growing file and sent them straight to Dean Hayes and the legal team. 2 days later, someone broke into Evan's apartment. Nothing stolen. Just tossed. Drawers pulled out, papers shredded. Campus security ruled it nonviolent. Evan moved out of state the next day. I wasn't just dealing with a privileged college kid anymore. This was something else. That Friday, Dean Hayes asked to meet me off campus. Said it would be safer. We met at a public cafe near the lake. She looked more tired than usual. No small talk. "There's more," she said. "One of the IT staff flagged unusual access to your academic records. Someone tried to log in under a fake administrator account. Twice." I stared at her. "They're trying to fabricate something," she said. "Your grades, your essays, anything they can alter." I felt cold all over. "Can you protect me from this?" "We're doing everything we can," she said. "But you need to be prepared. This isn't just academic anymore. This is personal. They're scared. That means they're desperate." I nodded. I didn't feel brave. I felt cornered. That night, I printed everything. Every email. Every receipt. Every chat. I stored backups in 3 different places. One in the cloud. One on a USB in my locked drawer. One with my cousin in Evanston. The next morning, a letter slid under my door. No stamp, no address. Just a single line in sharp handwriting. Drop it. Or we go after your family next. My mom lived 2 states away. My younger brother was in high school. I didn't tell them. Not yet. But I copied that letter too. I wasn't dropping anything. I was just getting started. I didn't sleep much after that letter. I kept checking the locks. Every sound outside made my heart pound. I moved my brother's photos off my desk and hid them, just in case someone ever got inside again. I stayed off campus as much as I could. I started studying at the 24-hour diner by the L station, where there were always people around and cameras everywhere. I also hired someone, a private investigator. Not cheap, but my aunt helped with the money. She used to work in state law enforcement, and when I told her everything, she didn't hesitate. Get the facts, she said. Then take them down with their own lies. The investigator worked fast. Within 2 weeks, he sent me everything I needed. Brad's father, Mr. Calloway, had donated large sums to the university in the past. Buildings, endowments, scholarships, his name was all over the place. That's why they hadn't expelled Brad yet. They were scared. Scared of lawsuits, scared of losing money, scared of bad press. But the investigator found more. He found emails, leaked from a disgruntled assistant who worked at Calloway's firm and hated Brad's guts. The emails showed Mr. Calloway pressuring university staff, offering career incentives if they made my case disappear quietly. One line stood out: "We can't let some bookstore girl ruin our name." I printed that one 5 times. The PI also found legal papers from another state. Brad had been involved in a very similar cheating scandal at his previous school before transferring to Chicago. That school had sealed the records, but not sealed enough. I took all of it, every file, every screenshot, every piece of evidence, and sent them to 3 places. 1. The university board. 2. A major education-focused journalist in Chicago. 3. A public online folder with open access, titled, "The Truth About Brad Calloway." Then I waited. 3 days later, it blew up. The story hit Reddit first, then Twitter. Then the Tribune. Wealthy CEO's son tries to frame student, gets exposed in shocking leak. The folder link went viral. News outlets ran with it. Photos of Brad and his dad popped up next to quotes from the ghostwriting messages and my essay's timestamp. The university board released a statement within 48 hours. Brad Calloway was expelled immediately. Mr. Calloway's donations were returned. Dean Hayes kept her job, but several faculty members were relieved of duties. The private investigator sent me a final message. They're in cleanup mode now. You did it. But I wasn't done. I emailed Brad directly. First time since it all started. The message was short. You said people like me exist to make life easier for people like you. I just made your life a lot harder. You're welcome. No reply. Later, I heard Brad had left the country. His dad's company took a massive hit after sponsors pulled out. Board members resigned. Calloway himself went silent. No press. No statements. As for me, I graduated. I walked the stage with a standing ovation. But here's the part one never told anyone. I did make a mistake. That Fitzgerald essay? Parts of it were too good. I had pushed past the line once or twice. I hadn't copied, but I had heavily leaned on a sample. Too close. I knew it. I felt it. I had taken the risk because I was desperate and tired and angry at the way people like Brad just floated through life. I cleaned it up after he accused me. Rewrote whole paragraphs. Made it airtight. But yeah, at the start, I wasn't perfect either. Does that make me like him? No. Because when it came down to it, I didn't lie. He did. Over and over. And that's the difference. I didn't destroy Brad's life. He handed me the matches. I just lit them.